Brian Giles from Brian Giles MTG. And hoo-ha, this is part 2 of the Warhammer 40K Commander spoilers. Hoo-ha. Let's jump right back into it. Because it looks like right now they're releasing mostly the Tyrannid deck. And as I said in the previous videos, in Warhammer 40k, Tyrannids are these insectile alien creatures that want to turn everything into biomass. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. So, first up is a card that is absolutely, I consider, busted. This is Zoanthrope. Now the card that's displayed to me is in Japanese, so I had to get to the translation page. Zoanthrope is 1 blue, 1 red, and X colorless for a 0/0, some sort of Tyrannid. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. If X is 5 or more, draw a card. That's a pretty much a theme with the Tyrannids. If you have like 5 or more, you get to draw a card because they get bigger and bigger. But it also has flying and ward 2. I mean, that in itself. Excuse me while I clean my glasses off. There, better. I can see. That in itself is just nasty. But this last thing on the card says, when Zoanthrope enters the battlefield, it does X damage to any target. Yahoo! Smurf me! I mean, really. A blue and a red for basically an XX creature with flying and ward 2. And it has a fireball ability. This is I'd say it's on par or maybe even a little bit better than Sheevan Devastator. While it doesn't have the haste, although you do have the red in the casting cost, and with red, there's all sorts of things to make things hasty in red. So this thing could be absolutely busted. And this is a card that I think your playgroups are not going to want to see in your deck. I mean, one, it's an X casting cost, it's an X casting cost creature. It's all about counters, and as I said in the previous video, the Tyranids are all about the Tyrannid decks is all about counters, making your creatures big and huge. So you put this big and huge, 5 or more, you draw a card. It hits the battlefield. It does X damage to any target. So if you're playing at the very minimum 5, it's doing 5 damage to any target. To get the most value out of it. And if it hits the battlefield, it's got ward 2 and it's flying. This thing is nasty. So let me get back to the main page here. And next up we have Hormagaunt Horde, which is 1 green and X for a 1/1 Tyrannid with Ravenous. This creature enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on if X is 5 or more. Draw a card when it enters. Again, I spoke about this with the Zoanthrope. It also has Endless Swarm. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1 green and 2. If you do, return Hormigaunt Horde from your graveyard to your hand. This is a creature card that has graveyard recursion, and you can make it big with card draw, which you don't see a lot of in green. So hoo-ha to this. Next up is Toxicrene. 1 green, 3 colors for a 2/4 Tyranid with Reach and Death Touch. It also has Hypertoxic Miasma. All lands have tap, add 1 mana of any color, and lose all other abilities. So it's basically some mana fixing, some reaching, some death touching. So yeah, you could do some fun things, and it basically takes away the abilities of all your opponent's lands, which is, while it does provide mana fixing for them, it also takes away all their other abilities, like your crack lands, your searchable lands, all that. Your triumphs just became just one tap, add 1 mana of any color. You can't crack your lands to get your mana fixing. It's just it's a little fun card. I don't see it, but this is Commander, so you could it's gonna mess with people for sure. Next up is Gearson Starn Kellermorph. 1 blue, 1 red, 1 colorless for a 3/2 legendary Tyranid human with Ward 2. It has 3 auto stubs. 3 auto stubs. Whenever another source you control deals exactly 1 damage to a permanent player, Gearson Starn Kellermorph deals 2 damage to that player. So if you're Timmying people, he does a little 2 extra damage. He's a fun little card. Next up is another fun card, another fun Tyranid in Genestealer Patriarch. 1 blue, 4 colors for a 4/4 Tyranid that has Genestealer's Kiss. Whenever Genestealer's Patriarch attacks, put an infection counter on target creature defending player controls. And Children of the Cult. Whenever a creature with an infection counter on it dies, you create a token that's a copy of that creature, except it's a Tyranid in addition to its other types. Get this guy out and do some spot removal. Have an attack and do some spot removal. Oh no. Especially for on creatures that that you're gonna sack. It's like they got ETBs or whatever. It's back sackable creatures. So you just gotta sack it anyway. So there's a fun little thing. Next up is another card that might screw with people a lot. Tyranid Herodon. 1 green, 1 blue, 4 colors for a 4/4 Tyranid with flying and ward 4. Hoo-ha! Good luck trying to get rid of this guy. He also has Shrieking Gargoyles. Whenever Tyranid Herodon or another Tyranid you control deals combat damage to a player, create a 1/1 blue Tyranid Gargoyle creature token with flying. Can anyone say unblockable? Yikes. Good luck trying to get rid of this dude. Next up is Biophagus. 1 green, 1 colorless for a 1/3 human Tyranid wizard with genomic enhancement. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. If this mana was spent to cast a creature spell, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. Yahoo! Make your creatures bigger. Next up is Winged Hive Tyrant. One blue, 1 red, 3 colorless for a 4/4 Tyranid with flying and haste. Will of the Hive Mind. Other creatures you control with counters on them have flying and haste. Well, we just talked about a creature that's very inexpensive to cast and gives counters. And there's other, we've talked about all sorts of cards, in the Tyranid decks that they're all about giving counters. So you put this dude out, all your creatures have flying and haste with counters on them and flying and haste. So you use Biophagus, you bring in a creature, it gets a +1/+1 counter on it, and whoopsie, it's got flying and haste. Oh my god. Hoo-ha! And last up is Nexos. 1 green, 1 colorless for a 2/2 human Tyranid advisor with strategic coordinator. Basic lands you control have tapped, add 2 colorless mana. Spend this mana only on costs that contain X. Well, we've seen some cards that contain X in the casting cost. And as I said, if you add in something like Shivan Devastator to this deck, he can add all sorts. He's mana fixing for X casting cost. This dude is busted as, and he's a 2/2, so he's not a bad little creature in himself. But I mean, the Hormigut Horde. You've got where's that other one? Was it Broodlord? Yeah, Broodlord. Yeah, Hormigut Horde, Broodlord, and those are all cards that have X in the casting cost. So Shivan Devastator. Anything that has X in the casting cost, hoo-ha. So that's all for today. Let me make one double check to make sure they haven't added anything else. No, nothing else added. So that's it for today. That's all of today's Warhammer 40K spoilers. So hoo-ha. You have a great day. My computer should be coming soon. It isn't coming today like I hoped it would, but I got other stuff going on today too. So I'm looking forward to trying to get the computer up and running. I'll get this video off as fast as I can, but it's just with what I have, this kind of half working Chromebook that I have to use my main monitor on because the monitor on that is gone. 2 computers went down in a matter of a week. So I'm hoping to get my other computer in and back up and running, and we're gonna get out these videos the best we can. If you haven't seen it, check out part 1 of this one. There's a lot of cards in there. There's a lot of fun stuff. I like the Tyranid deck. I'm going to be intrigued to see what they have for the other decks. So, Hoo-ha! See you on the next video.